Bradshaw trying to get away. And his pass is...
Welcome back to 5-Star Matchup. Make sure you hit subscribe and turn on notifications now. And if you really like the show, please consider supporting us on Patreon for as little as $1.50 a month. So, anything interesting happened this week? Oh yeah, just that one little thing. In light of Mike T and the Steelers finally turning the keys over to the young gun Kenny P, it got me thinking about the greatest rookies in Steelers history. Let's take a look at my top 10, and maybe we'll look back at this in a few months and be adding a new name to the list. Number 10, Martavis Bryant.
Roethlisberger steps up, end zone shot, it is caught! Dragging the feet is the rookie Bryant, his first NFL catch, a Monday night touchdown!
While I expect this to be the most controversial name included on this list, it's my show, and frankly I wanted an excuse to talk about one of my favorite what could have beens in NFL history. Martavis Bryant didn't make his debut until week 7 of his rookie campaign, and he instantly became exactly what the burgeoning Killer Bees offense needed, which was someone to take the top off the defense and allow AB and Lev Bell to do work without being doubled too often. I was lucky enough to see the man's first touchdown against the Houston Texans in person, and I fell in love with his physical ability immediately. I've said it before and I'll say it again. With the right mental health care and people around him, I genuinely believe Martavis Bryant could have been a perennial Pro Bowler in this league.
I tell you, this Martavis Bryant, we don't want to put too much on his plate, but I don't know. I think I'd be piling it on like a Thanksgiving dinner.
His rookie stats don't stun you, but 8 of his 26 catches went for touchdowns, and he averaged a staggering 21.1 yards per catch, a stat that sounds completely made up to anyone who's watched the Steelers in the last several years. Number 9, JuJu Smith-Schuster.
Pin him deep. Roethlisberger gives a lot of room here. JuJu Smith-Schuster off to the races. Inside the 30, the 20, the 10. Touchdown. 97 yards.
While he may not have learned a lot about offense in his 5 years here, we sure learned a lot about John Jacob Jingleheimer Smith-Schuster, an instantly beloved component of the Steelers' last real contender of a team in 2017. JuJu accomplished a feat not often seen in NFL history. He became a polished wide receiver before he even had a driver's license. They grow up so fast. JuJu immediately carved out a role on the last Killer Bees team, which also featured Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, and Martavis Bryant. While he'd end up dividing the fan base between his on-field and off-field behaviors, I've never offered anything but praise for Mr. Smith-Schuster, who I thought flashed shades of Hines Ward with his unrelenting toughness on the field. And compared to what some of our other wide receivers have done off the field, yeah, that was a non-factor for me. Number 8, Maurkice Pouncey. Taken in the first round with the 18th overall pick, Maurkice was an instant starter and fierce protector of the franchise player Big Ben from the second he arrived in Pittsburgh. There obviously aren't a whole ton of stats one can point to with an offensive lineman, but the Steelers had struggled to fill the position following the departure of Jeff Hardings, and all Pouncey did was show up and make the Pro Bowl in his first year and All-Pro in his second, and hold down the position at a high level for a decade. No big deal. Number 7, Chase Claypool. I can hear the boo birds already, but hear me out. I have 2 words for you. 11 touchdowns. While you could certainly argue Chase Claypool hasn't lived up to his potential these next couple of seasons, I can't overlook the instant impact that he had in Big Ben's epic return in 2020. I hated it at the time, but oh, how I long for the days of people throwing around the phrase Mapletron here in 2022. I'm not giving up on Claypool, and I personally think they need to get more creative in how they get him the ball a la Deebo Samuel. Oh, and for the love of God, Chase, please extend those elbows. Number 6, Louis Lips.
From Southern Mississippi, number 83, Louis Lips.
In my opinion, one of the most underrated Steelers of all time, Louis Lipps somehow amassed 358 catches and 6,018 yards in 8 years with the Steelers, despite playing with a ragtag group of mediocre to bad quarterbacks that included Cliff Stout, Bubby Brister, and Todd Blackledge. As a rookie in 1984, catching passes from Mark Malone and David Woodley, Lipps caught 45 passes for 860 yards and 9 scores, including a Randy Moss-like debut with 6 catches for $183 and 2 touchdowns in his debut. He would go on to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Hey there, and thanks for watching. If you like this show, please make sure to hit that subscribe button now. And if you really like what we're doing, please consider becoming a supporter on Patreon for as little as $1.50 a month. I'll even handwrite you a mean joke about Mitchell Trubisky in your welcome envelope. This week only. Now roll the game. Number 5, Jack Lambert.
Jack, I have come all the way from Mexico to see you, man. This is my dream.
An instant impact player and arguably the most iconic Steeler from their incredible 1974 draft class, which featured 4, count 'em 4, Hall of Famers in their first 5 picks. If you could be the lasting image from a draft class that included Lynn Swann, John Stallworth, and Mike Webster, you are probably pretty amazing. Jack grabbed a pair each of sacks and interceptions on his way to winning the Defensive Rookie of the Year award and would only need until his 3rd season in 1976 to win Defensive Player of the Year. Oh, and he also came in 2nd in overall MVP voting. I'm not breaking any news here, but Jack Lambert was the man. Number 4, Kendrell Bell. One of the few on this list that you'd consider a one-year wonder, but Kendrell Bell was truly one of the most dynamic defensive rookies in modern NFL history. An absolute sledgehammer of an inside linebacker, Bell totaled 82 tackles, 23 for loss, 9 sacks, and made the Pro Bowl as a rookie in 2001. Unfortunately for him, injuries and bad luck hampered Bell for the rest of his career, and he'd never have the same impact again, finishing his rookie deal with the Steelers before 3 minimally impactful years with the Chiefs. Number 3, Joe Greene.
Next selection, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers first round selection, Joe Greene, Greene, defensive tackle, North Texas State.
I mean, he's Joe Greene. Are you kidding? Arguably the greatest player in Steelers franchise history, Mean Joe arrived in the NFL just as he'd spend his entire career, in dominating fashion. Sacks weren't officially counted back then, but Pro Football Reference credits him with 9.5 as a rookie, and if that doesn't say enough, think about this. The lowly Pittsburgh Steelers went a measly 1-13 in 1969, and in spite of that, the powerful defensive tackle was awarded the Defensive Rookie of the Year award. There simply aren't many players in NFL or sports history that showed up and completely changed the trajectory of a franchise like Mean Joe did. Number 2, Franco Harris. While Joe Greene was the start of the culture change for the formerly lowly Steelers, Franco was the offensive weapon that really shifted things for the Steelers. In 10 starts as a rookie, Franco Harris rushed 188 times for 1,055 yards, a staggering 5.6 yards per carry, with 10 touchdowns on the ground to go with 21 catches for 180 yards and another score through the air. Oh, not to mention, he literally caught the immaculate reception as a rookie.
Bradshaw trying to get away. And his pass is broken up by Tatum. Tipped off. Franco Harris has it. And he's over. What? Franco Harris.
No offense to the rest of the people on this list, but if you make the greatest play in NFL history as a rookie, you are a cut above the rest. Number 1, Big Ben Roethlisberger. I mean, wasn't it inevitable? Arguably the greatest rookie season by any quarterback in the history of the sport, you can take your Dan Marino or New Age stats and throw them out the damn window. Big Ben came in week 2 and did not lose another game until the freaking AFC Championship game, leading the Steelers to a sparkling 15-1 record and the number 1 seed in the playoffs. It's a shame that the Patriots felt the need to cheat in order to get past a rookie quarterback, but if anything, that just shows how good Big Ben was immediately out of the gate. Rookie quarterbacks can make a big difference. Who knew? So, what do you think? As with any top 10, I'm absolutely positive some of you will take issue with my selections, and I want to hear it. Let me know below if you think I was right on, dead wrong, or even if you just have a couple nitpicks. And let me know what you think Kenny Pickett's gonna do in his first start this weekend. I feel better than I have any right to. Here we go. And if you made it this far, you should really think about joining either as a member here on YouTube, there's a button below, or grabbing yourself some exclusive merch by supporting us on Patreon over at patreon.com/5SMU. You can select any package for as little as $1.50 a month, and every little bit helps the show. Catch you next week.